Okay, I think we are live. Alright, well, hey guys, this is Jackson. I know it's been like forever since I've uploaded, and trust me, I have a good reason. I've been really busy with work and school heating up. Well, I mean, not school heating up, but school about to start. So, with that being said, I think that I need to go ahead and start this real quick because it is almost time for me. It is time for me to go to bed, but I need to record this so I can move on to other stuff. So, without further ado, this is the story of the Earth Realm. Now, I will say that the character I use in this is heavily based off of alternate history hubs characters. So I just wanted to say that, and then I got the inspiration of it from him, and yeah, I just want to say that so that no one like copy strikes me or something. So, anyways, yeah. Hi. So also the speech bubbles are for one, you to read, and for me also to read, and also because I don't know how to work closed captioning, so that's how we're gonna do this. I know it's a bit cringy, and God knows I spent a lot of time on this, and it still looks like crap, but you know, I got what I have. So, alright. Oh, yes, the Earth Realm. I suppose we need to start the story somewhere, yeah? Well, let's begin where the world went to hell. The entire world fell into disaster. Nuclear disaster shortly after World War III eventually developed into chaotic infighting and relentless nuking of cities. However, some people survived above the surface and managed to adapt, but this changed their appearance drastically. The new humans would roam the wasteland for centuries before they realized they weren't the only beings there. Soon these otherworldly beings arrived and revealed their true intentions, that Earth was a big social experiment. They would try to build up new civilizations. These aliens didn't want the control group from last time around, so they had to do something with the surviving humans. And in order to get rid of these humans, they released a mutated virus to transform them all into various creatures. This is definitely this is definitely not just a placeholder for the hostile monsters, effectively. Then, in order to replace the older control group, they added players, of course. They gave them memories of false life to make them not question where they came from again. Again, definitely not a placeholder for anything. This would lead to players. These players would come to lead several nations. Some will go on to lead world empires. So let's just jump right into the nation building. So we first started without this room with four main powers: the Empire of Sicily, the anarchist Siberian states, the Kingdom of Egypt, and the federal or fabulous British intelligence. Sicily emerged when an Italian super soldier was put into stasis during an experiment on Catania after the city was bombed by Russian allies. After he awoke, he had severe amnesia and had to make a base in the cave where he suddenly realized the situation of the world. He quickly took charge of a protective underground village to house any of the survivors. This was the birth of the Sicilian Protectorate/Republic. The ruler of the FBI's religion is shrouded in mystery, but rumors state that he is actually a robot emerged from his slumber after an earthquake flipped the switch on his stasis. However, this is considered a conspiracy theory by the ruler of the FBI. The accusations are utterly ridiculous. However, he made his nation an accident after he was mistaken as a god by a local village that appointed him their leader. Now, I don't know how he managed to find a village whenever only villagers were. Okay, I don't know. This is just what he told me. The Queen of Egypt says that his rulers simply came directly from the sun. It seems that there is no evidence to prove otherwise, so that's a common thought on the matter. She made her nation after finding several massive pyramid structures and a struggling civilization. She quickly rose through the ranks and became a leader. I guess the nuke didn't kill everybody, but it killed a lot of people. And also, giant zombie virus. The leader of the anarchist Siberian states were also speculated to come from the moon, and how she made her country by gathering up all the scattered tribes mostly populated regions of Russia. She prompted she prompted the improvement of their livelihoods, so many flocked to her cause. For a while, only these four nations It was only these four nations that expanded. But soon there were more introduced to keep the excitement for the realm. This included the American state, French state, Canadian state, and Japan. Some nations these would come and go, but they were still detrimental to the survival of the realm. As we continued on, more and more nations appeared. Some would become powerhouses of their respective regions, like the Union of Dystopia, the Union of the Beers, and the Kingdom of Elecatoria. Smaller nations arose, like the Kingdom of Billy Bob, Deutschland, and the Arabian Federation, the Greenlandic State, and the United Nation of the Druids. Some would become great empires, most notably the two UOD powers. The Union of Beers, which had built a massive fort on South Africa, had been building a rail line connecting its territories to Egypt, as well as a rail line across the Atlantic into South America with their Brazilian colonies. Meanwhile, the Union of Utopia will go for the shed spam approach, patent pending, um, using the mineral resources to build as many small sheds to overlap and create some of the largest territorial claims on the realm. This strategy, an attempt to make the Western Hemisphere a Pacific Ocean, a giant oak plank continent, the UOD would become the second largest state in the realm. And by that I mean the Union of Dystopia, not the Union of De Beers. Equatoria was also in a very active state until they suffered a civil war and collapsed under the pressure of the zombie hordes. Yeah, I kind of summarized that one a lot, but that was just an excuse for me saying that he literally left the realm because of, he couldn't build anything because the mobs from the jungles kept blowing up the stuff. But now, out of all the new nations joining, no one would expect what one small step would do in the years to come. You see, the realm had been in a generally peaceful area. Sure, when the Union of Utopia joined, it started putting sheds wherever he could to find room was annoying, but it wasn't downright destructive. However, one state in particular had other plans: world domination. You see, after Equilatoria died, three new nations popped into the power vacuum: the Kingdom of Billy Bob, located in Iceland, the Republic of Guinea, and the Republic of Nicaragua. As these three nations' leaders were already best friends in real life, they obviously made an alliance, but this alliance would become a pain to the rest of the world. These three nations would soon explore all over the globe, hungry for resources and land. However, they all seemed to act as one nation rather than three, and this started to become suspicious. Many nations began to be fearful of these three nations as they began to industrialize massively and establish themselves to be extremely expansionist. Many nations tried to establish peaceful relations out of pure fear of these powerful presidents. However, this soon changed. The nations soon began to bend the world's legal system in their will, and started many campaigns to claim land that had already been claimed by other countries. They often referred to the fact that the country had no land on set. That's a typo. Had no buildings or builds on said land. They had no rightful claim to the land. This started too many debates to count, but soon tensions exploded. The three nations began to claim parts of Africa and began buying off land from the world powers. Mali was given to Guinea, Nicaragua bought Guatemala, and several attempts were made to buy states from Sicily and the Americas, but those were unsuccessful. But this would amount to the final peaceful attempt to expand, where the three nations demanded that Northern Australia be given to them, along with New Zealand. When the anarchists refused, they declared war, and the First War of the New Age began. The three nations caught the anarchists by surprise, forcing the leader of the states to take to the sky by the lights from fire rockets in a desperate attempt to keep back the three presidents, but it failed. After running from colony to colony, the anarchists finally gave in and surrendered. But exactly 2 minutes afterwards, the Sicilian government landed forces into northern Australia and declared war on the three presidents. This was followed by the FBI's entry into the war. However, not wanting the total destruction of northern Australia, the anarchist leader proposed a solution. She announced a 3 versus 3 duel for northern Australia, and as everyone didn't want a completely destroyed colony after the war, they all agreed. The duel was heavily watched by the international community, as all were rooting for one nation or the other. But with the help of a massive dog pack brought by the Billy Bobbian leader, The defenders failed to survive. Northern Australia had been lost to the three nations. Sicily began talks with the original four empires and other regional powers, stating that this was a time of warring and uncertainty must be stopped, and that the three nations must all go down. As the Allies prepared for a war to end it all, the Sicilian separatists began a widespread movement to reform the empire. This brought immense financial downturn to the Sicilian economy, and they needed a way out. So they finally gave in to the Billy-Bobby trade of 100,000 gold blocks and for the territory of Mozambique. I don't think it was actually gold blocks. I think it was actually lapis blocks, but whatever. Well, Sicily later regretted this decision. It gave them this ability that they desperately needed. With the money they had bought better housing for civilians and reformed the government into a parliamentary empire. However, shortly after these worrying events in Sicily, the three nations pulled off something no other nation had thought of. The Republic of Nicaragua, the Republic of Guinea, and the Kingdom of Billy Bob all united into a single union, the Federal Oligarchy of the Mozambican Treaty. This established a new union, and an oligarchy run equally by the members of each country. This was a heavy blow to Sicilian morale, as their three enemies united into one superpower capable of taking their power with their new military might. This caused the Mozzie Scare, where many believed that the Mozambicans were already preparing to annex all of the Sicilian Empire. However, surprisingly, this new union had no intentions of expansion and just wanted to spend time industrializing and integrate their collective colonies. But this also led to the creation of the Sicilian Security Pact, which basically gave the Sicilian military the ability to defend any of its members. And these members included the members that were considered inactive by server standards, like the ones that you see below, who had basically built a base and then just left. But this would be a surprisingly peaceful time for the realm, as the main threat of peace now being peaceful itself. All nations showed a massive spurt of growth in the next months. However, this period would leave as suddenly as it arrives. And this is where the official lore departs from the real lore. We are now reading the official lore. Some of these events were made up to cover the less attractive times of the realm's history. Alright, defunct and the Farms rebellions began to spring up everywhere out of the blue. Soon, the international community was thrown into a panic. Everyone feared the domino effect as if one of the most extremely powerful planet nations on the planet fell, they would be next. Then, they would be next. This would lead to many nations supporting the original Font government against the new Republic of the Starving People's Party. As you can see, you can see the picture. However, the people of the Farm seemed to grow tired of peace. The Farm's capital in Guinea fell, and the RCP had taken control. Soon after this, however, the original Farm friendly forces began to rise up along the coastline of Mozambique. The RCP blamed the Sicilians for inciting the rebels, which they indeed did. This means when a Sicilian intelligence group, also known as me, just going into their territory and snooping around and trying to blow them up, which was kind of funny. When the Sicilian intelligence group was found in the capital preparing sabotage, the RCP government was outraged, or what was left of it. You see, in the chaos of the rebellions, the kingdom of Billy Bob revealed that he himself had incited the rebels to revitalize the expansionist policies that had built their nation. The two other presidents fled, and the president of Nicaragua would go on to flee to Mozambique, where he would join with the rebels, now called the New Font, or the Enfant. The president of Guinea would go on to build a massive ship off the coast of West Africa and become the oceanic states of Atlantis. The RCP would then rebuild from the Civil War, all while casting a dirty look towards Sicily. These tensions would continue for several months until the Guinean mine incident occurred, when the Sicilian operatives caught inside of Guinea section of RCP trying to steal and rig a trap. The leader of the RSVP would then go and demand repercussions from Sicily, but when Jacksonius denied, it was war. Sicily was unprepared for this war. The Navy was nowhere near the mainland, and the Army had been so busy working on a top-secret Project Monarca that when the RSVP landing craft in aircraft was spotted heading towards the Gibraltar Strait, all hell broke loose. However, Sicily would be able to hold them back after the Battle of the Bellarau Island. This would lead to a 4 in real-life day stalemate before both sides agreed to a truce. Sicily would technically lose and fix property damage to the RCB and give them more reparations. After this war, though everyone else would spend most of their time nervously looking over their shoulder. And after some more months of general activity on the realm, the RCP decided they needed something new to put their mind to. So when they decided they would start another war, it started with them declaring war on Russia, which was in the Sicilian Security Pact. So after Russia decided it would rather be annexed by Sicily than the RCP, tensions exploded. So unexpectedly, the USPP declared war on the Sicilians again. Sicily had been researching new technologies, however, and was almost ready for the attack. The massive RPP air force bombarded Sicily, while the king defended the main naval base in Venezuela. Several underguarded territories were taken for a short time, such as Patagonia, Madagascar, Morocco, and Newfoundland, but the Sicilians remained unfazed. However, the RCP summoned many of its civilians to fight, and the Sicilian army, which had been bombed into oblivion by this point by the RCP Air Force, it was weakened. The Sicilian army was pushed back out of Sicily and forced retreat into the forests of Russia and Ukraine. Luckily, Jacksonius had planned for the fall of Sicily and thought of a contingency plan. The army made a discovery down in America. It was possible to go through the world barrier. With this in mind, a massive military stockpile was made on a constructed platform in the middle of the void in order to house Operation Artemis. So the operation was fell upon. Through a secret cave inside of Mount Sprintmore, the Artemis Division blew out a wall and charged down the Italian peninsula, smashing the unaffected enemies. But then the OCP pulled another card up their sleeve, as they purposefully infected their own troops with the zombie virus, and the leader of the RCP managed to mind control many of the mobs into his ranks. Now Sicily had to fight hordes of the undead along with the rest of the RSPP troops and the Air Force of the RSPP. However, a naval battle also occurred while this was happening. The RSPP aircraft carrier had made its way towards the main Sicilian naval base in Venezuela and had just managed to hold off and sink it. And this would be very important, as the Sicilians would then go on the offensive. After shoving the RPP out of the Sicilian European sector, they began moving troops. A plan of attack was made, Operation Headlight. Three separate lines of attack were planned. Sicily would divide up its forces into east and western fronts. Most of the army would go to the east and attack from Egypt, and a second front with the Sicilian army and the army of the Enfoms would land in the former Equatorial land and push from there. Once it commenced, the battle was insane. The RSVP had had months to build up their defenses, and it was room-to-room combat in every single building, as you can see from the tour of the RSVP. Eventually, however, the Sicilians breached through. The RSVP leader was killed and the war would end. As of now, the RSVP lands under occupation by the Enfant and propped up by Sicily and his allies. Well, that is what happened from the story that I made up. This is what actually happened in the realm. Now, unlike I said earlier, the RCP did not in fact break up. I made that assumingly because of a Discord message I took the wrong way when the president of Guinea proclaimed that he was leaving the RCP and starting the OSA. I thought that was my confirmation that he was actually leaving, and apparently my assumption was wrong, therefore I didn't get the war right. Now, my memory is a bit fuzzy here, but some important events happened. When the RSVP was proclaimed, the Colosseum that they built was destroyed as a symbol, because they built it as a symbol of the RSVP, and then it was destroyed. I thought that it was destroyed by a foreign power, but I guess it was not, and that was my reasoning for a chaos in the RSVP or a civil war, because I later found out it was purposefully blown up by the own government to get attention or just rebuild their capital. After the capital was rebuilt, The RCP leader copied the design of the United States ships, but the RCP's copy was never finished, so I drew it in the lore as an aircraft carrier. This, along with the giant river in the capital, led me to think that the RCP was a large air power, as I mentioned in the lore. Also, yeah, I copied the actual like the one-to-one design of the ship image from a YouTube tutorial, and I put it in the corner so you guys can, I don't know, look at it, because this is literally what the ship looks like, but then just imagine like all the parts on top of it just taken off. Not to mention, any war I mentioned before that was not the Northern Australia war was not organized in the least. Sure, I had a rule war book, but when I declared war on the RCP, or the RCP declared war on me, or whatever, and panicked for a few days, like when I had to tear down my entire base in preparation, there was no duel. I There was just my home base getting wiped off the face of the earth. Like there was no like there's no like warning, there was no armies showing up. There was just like I logged off one day and I logged back on and oh no, where'd my base go? Not to mention the second Sicily starving war where the RCP just straight up griefed my entire base because of three reasons. One, I didn't let them declare on my ally who was at the hospital with his grandma in real life. I didn't cheat them into full netherite armor, even though I literally did when they hid from me in creative mode to get it. And three, they hated me. So the two most recent wars in the realm was like essentially just the RCP wanting attention and an excuse to destroy what I worked on for a year. That's yeah, spicy. I'm aware that this just seems like a big rant about the RCP, PP, but let's just say that there's a reason why I wrote my character Sicily with eye bags. And there was one part I left out about the lore entirely, besides that bit of me and the leader with the FBI. The third Sicily Starving War was one that happened after the realm and after the first tours, and this was the war that I brought up and I toured around in Fair Enough. That I didn't leave that in there because I mean there wasn't really a cause for that. I literally just opened up the realm to tour it, and then RCP guys showed back up, and then yeah, round two, well played is what it says in Diamond as I look at my destroyed base. So it started with an argument on Discord. They said I had got the lore wrong about their country, which was not wrong, but it was surely better than the lore did have. And I mean, they did technically say like, yeah, they said that they didn't really need anything. And yeah, we can just skip over this part. I don't have the image, but like I saw it and it was in the original thing, and that was why there's a gray circle and not just McKinney flag because he literally had a plane, um, Mr. Terrorist Man in the middle, and then the Twin Towers on the red. So, anyways, especially the RCP, and basically the RCP just made me snap. They asked me to remove the tanks and military stuff I put in their country for the lore. I was okay with that, and I was going to, until out of the blue they put a certain Jeffrey who owned an island reference smack dab in the middle of Beach's base, which was also a South Park reference, I think, but whatever. I was okay with getting my base blown to smithereens 4 times, but this was straight up offensive. And so, yeah, I did go into creative mode, destroy everything they owned, and then I logged back in on with alternate accounts, and they did the same to me. I will also say, if you're still here, thank you. But I think I actually left something out. The first war we did wasn't really a war; it was just the quote unquote anarchist pirates that you might have seen in the gravestones of my tour. That was um, that was basically the anarchists came down and burned down my early version of the Sicily city um for the fun of it. And I didn't put that in here because it wasn't really matter, but I just wanted to mention it, for the history books, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, and that is the real lore of the Earth Realm. Hopefully now those members of the RCP why I don't know why I built up a kinder story. If it needs any more convention, here are some couple of messages I got sent. Oh wow. Oh wow. Gee, I wonder what comments those look like on my YouTube videos. But anyways, that's it for the lore. I know this presentation sounds super pro-Sicily biased, but when it was that was simply because I know they'll say it a lot, but in reality, yes, it was me and the RSVP fighting that kept the server alive, which I sincerely regret, because a server shouldn't be kept alive by a perpetual war between two states, because that's just not right. But that was pretty much all that was happening in the late stages. So, yeah. To be fair, the anarchists did find a way to go inside of the border before we did without just going into creative mode mining through the thing, like through the barrier, which was a cool discovery, but there wasn't a massive land grab for the void bases that I thought there would be, so that's why I didn't really mention it. And finally, after I'm done making all the negative comments, and finally, I would like to thank everyone, not just those who participate in the realm. Yes, even though it's just caused problems the whole time, but to those who watch this. This video will be the last I upload, but I do have another round of Minecraft content cooking up, so stay tuned. Um, the next videos I have will actually probably be pretty soon. I just can't assure when, because I start school in a couple days, so that's gonna be a lot of busy. That's going to be a lot of busy. Well, that's one for the quote books. And to my friends who helped me out with this realm, I cannot thank you enough being able to host something with my friends that brought out a story, even if it was mediocre, even if it was a mediocre one. It felt very good. So thank you for watching, thank you for playing, and thank you for everything. I will see all of you later. La fine. And that's in Italian, not French. Okay, and just one quick run through. I'm gonna like wind sprint through this because it is already like almost 30 minutes long. But this is like the Earth Realm like slideshow that we had, and yeah, we have. If you can like you can pause the video. I'm just gonna go through the slides and basically just archive this, I guess. But this is pretty much all that I had, and I know it's not exactly up to date, but it's better than nothing. And here are some war slides that we had. Um, I'm just spraying through this. I don't really have time. I already explained all of this, but like, yeah, you probably saw some of this in the war video. Here's some stuff from the Union of Utopia. Yeah, it's it's kind of crazy how much stuff that was made during this. Yes, I have state flags and I have all of this stuff, and this is kind of cringy to be completely honest, but yeah, I made this like I made this like a year ago. Don't think anything of it. Okay, I think that's all of that, and then I have one more slideshow about just the Sicilian Empire. Has a brief description. God, I put a Breaking Bad reference in here. Okay, that. Yep, 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 yep. Do it. Yep, 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 yep. All right. Anyways, thank you guys for helping me out with this. I mean, it's been a wild ride. Like I didn't think people would actually see this. So like when I get people's comments that are like not from the Earth realm is actually crazy. So thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me. I apologize for the long wait. It's been like what a month since my last video came out, so this will be great. So I appreciate you all. Like literally, this was a really cool experience at being able to do something like this. All right, it was great. Even if it brought me tears sometimes from like having my face blown up for the 9,000th time, but it was fun. And I will say that I do have another batch cooking up, and it's literally like I literally just made another realm after I finished touring it. So like I'll be showing that, and I'll probably change my YouTube channel name too because it's not just gonna be the Sicilian Archives, but it'll yeah, it'll be cool. It'll be cool. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Good night. Have a great night. Or day. Whatever time you're saying this, have a good rest of whatever. All right. Bye bye.